That was some of me to do. Fix this right quick, cause you know. All right, now I'm ready. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Jeannie here. I am back at you with another video. Yes, yes, and yes. This video is my February wrap-up video, and I am going to talk about all the books that I read in February. February was actually a pretty good reading month, if I must say so myself. I got through 6 books. Yes, 6 books. I'm not mistaken, but I'm sure it's 6 books. I had a pretty good reading month. No DNFs, you know. I did pretty awesome. I'm actually pretty happy with my February month, especially considering it's a shorter month. I mean, I don't know how I feel about that, quite honestly, because I'm like, it's not really that short. Technically, if you think about it, that's 2 to 3 extra days of reading that you can add more books to your February wrap up, right? Like, so I get it. I get it, guys. Because at first I'm like, technically, it's not that serious. Like, everybody's like, yeah, it's just a short month, and you know, I'm trying to get all these books in. But I'm like, you know what? I know who was thinking like that. It was her. Yes, I really don't see what the hype is about February being a short month and people saying they can't get their reading done. No, I don't see it, because you know, technically it's only about 2 days that you're missing from the February month. And if it was a month that went into, you know, the 31st type month, which we really don't have a lot of those. So, technically you're only missing 2 days, so it's not really that big of a difference. And yes, it's still the same thing. So, it's just the truth. Basically, the problem is that it takes away 2 days, maybe even 3 days of reading. You know, like, I probably could have read a whole nother book. Well, technically, maybe not, because I'm not that fast of a reader, but I could have probably did like a audio combo thing, or listened to a audio book, or read a graphic novel, or a middle grade book to add to my TBR. Not my TBR, to my wrap up. So, yeah, there is actually a big difference. Now I see why readers feel that way. Really, I don't see the big difference. But, you know, if you say so, I guess. But really, for me, it's not that big of a difference. It's just minus 2 to 3 days. So if you didn't get to finish reading, just read it in March. That's it. But anyways, let me go on to continuing my book. You know, sometimes I just can't. I just can't with her. Like, nerdy me can be a little, you know, you know. But let's get back into the books I read in February. I actually read 6 books in February, which I'm pretty excited about. It was a good reading month, considering considering that it was a shorter month. Basically, the first book I'm going to get into, sorry for the light glare, but it is Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Tyler. Oh, what? By Talia Hibbert. This book was actually a read along that I did in my Discord group. Because I was like, you know what? It would be very cool to read like a romance in February, right? Like, just like a nice little light romance, and something, like a rom com, something funny, something lighthearted, something not so steamy. If you're going into this book thinking that there is like no steam in it, there is. Okay, there are some descriptive stuff going on here. I don't know. It was just something about the steaminess in here that it was like, ooh. I think that was like one of my major problems, is that I really didn't like the narrator for it. So maybe that's what made me feel uncomfortable when it came to certain things that happen in this book. I'm really gonna see if it's just me and I don't really like steamy romances, or it was just that that narrator sounded older and it made me feel icky. Put it this way, guys, it's kind of like if your grandmother was reading to you. Like when you have that older person in your life and they start talking about like sexual stuff, and then you feel like, ew, stop talking to me about that. Like, ew, like, or you feel uncomfortable. But I think that's what may have been the problem when it came to those moments in the book. So when I read Take a Hint, Danny Brown, I am definitely going to try to like read it more, especially during those parts. And also it depends on the narrator that's used in the audiobook. Besides the whole like steaminess part, I actually really did enjoy this book. I'm still stuck in between like the rating I want to give it. I don't know if I want to give it a 3.5 stars or a 4 star. I'm leaning more towards 4 though, because quite honestly, I really did enjoy this book. Like, I found Chloe and Red's relationship to be so funny. I really had a lot of laugh out loud moments. Like, a lot of them, and I don't get that too much. I don't do that a lot in books. So it was really nice to like see their relationship and like how it all unfolded, and like it was just so cute too. Like, there was so many cute moments in this book, and it had me like, oh, like I had a lot of those oh moments. So it has an enemies to lovers trope. So Chloe Brown is she's chronically ill. She has fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia. I hope I said it right. I really like the representation of that in here, because Talia Hibbert did such a good job with, like describing how Chloe felt, and like sharing that little piece, that chronic illness in here with us. And it was pretty well done, because it's like I felt what Chloe would feel like when she would wake up and feel pain and she couldn't like walk and things like that. Like, so I really enjoyed that here. We don't get to read a lot of those type of conditions in books, and I think that it's very important. So, like as a reader, you can learn about what people go through, or these conditions that we've heard of but we don't really know too much. And it was really nice to be able to experience that with Chloe and understand it a little better. She's like this computer geek, and Redford Morgan, he's the superintendent of the build of like her building, and they like are enemies. Like it's like a whole misunderstanding between them, and it's so funny, and I love their banter because it was so well done, and it was so like natural. It had all the elements that I love about enemies to lovers trope in it, and the banter, like the back and forth, and like one would come for one and the other one would come even harder for the other one, and they would just keep on at it. It was so funny. And it's funny too because as their relationship grew, it's like that banter was still there, and it was so fun to see that. um and there was like so many cutesy moments in this book. Like it had me feeling like, because I also have a condition, and it's something that's not easy to deal with too. So, um, for somebody to be able to understand, like epilepsy and how it affects me and stuff, that's why I really enjoyed Chloe seeing, a medical condition in this book, because I could relate to some of it. The way Red would do things for her, it was just so heartwarming and so nice and thoughtful, and I loved it. There was just a little something thrown in there where they kind of go through this moment and stuff, so it was just like, I felt like in a sense it was overly dramatic. It doesn't really bother me to, like to such a huge extent, but I don't know. I just felt like, okay, really? Like I get it, but really it had to go to this level? It had to go like from here to up here, like to that level? Come on. I can understand somewhat why, but again, I just feel like it didn't need to be so dramatic. I'm leaning more towards a 4-star read for me, and I would definitely recommend this book. So definitely pick it up. And I do plan to read Take a Hint, Danny Brown, as you already heard before. But I do plan on reading it and continuing with this series. Next book I read in February is City of Bones. Ooh. This one was actually a reread for me. I read this one. Woo! Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, I read this one a while ago, actually. I believe it was back in 2017. Let me just check. Hold on. When I originally read this was back in 2016. So I was thinking 2017. No, it was further. I think you should know about the Shadowhunters series by now. I mean, like, if not, then where have you been? Have you been underneath a rock or something? Like, because almost everybody knows about this, but if you don't, it's basically about Clary Frey, who she goes to like this club in New York City called Pandemonium, and she like stumbles across like like something going on in there. She meets Chase, who happens to be a shadow hunter, and she sees like, stuff going on, and she's basically like pulled into his world. And then like a lot of other things start happening where Clary finds out a lot of things that she really didn't know about herself and her family, for that matter. Sorry guys, I'm not that great with synopsises. Like, I may just have to start reading it. I actually read this series all the way up to City of Glass, and then I stopped. And it's not because I stopped, for any bad reason, because I really want to continue the series. It's just I stopped reading at the time. So yeah, that happened, unfortunately. But now I buddy reading the whole series with my friend, and the goal is to finish it this year. Rereading it again, and as you can see, I annotated the crap out of it. And this was actually, I annotated it using my system, because before I really wouldn't annotate my book. So that was very fun to dive into this world again and annotate it using my annotation system. Yeah, you could see like I had quite a bit of stuff to say. And yes, guys, I use a whole color coordinating. Yeah, I have a whole system. If you're interested in a video on my annotating system, even though I know there's like a lot of them out there, but mine is I would say it's similar, but it's different at the same time. If you're interested, let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely plan a video for it. When I first read it, I gave it a 4.5 star. I would say it's still the same. Like, I don't think it's any different for me. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I was still annoyed with Clary. I was still annoyed with Jace at times, because I have like this love-hate relationship with Jace, because I love how sarcastic he is. But then I cannot stand how conceited he is. Like, okay, you could be confident, because you know your girl's confident, but he's just more on the conceited side, and that just irks me. So Isabella, I like her. She's pretty cool, but she's not like, at least not yet. She wasn't like a big deal for me. Alec as well, like I kind of felt annoyed by him too, but I like him. I do like him, because he's, you know, pretty sarcastic and just like this whole mysterious vibe about him. When I come to really think about it, I don't know if I would give it 4.5 like I did then. It's probably more towards, it's like a 4-star for me, because I think they really did annoy me, and this time around I really did catch more. I was a little more annoyed, but it's like it's more of a me thing. But for the most part, I do enjoy the characters. I love Magnus. Like, I mean, who doesn't love Magnus Bane? Like, come on, right? Like, who doesn't love him? I did enjoy the overall there you go, story. It's crazy, because even though there was some things that I remembered going back into this world, it was like there was still the element that took me by surprise, like the whole plot twist. It was still like, I was like, all right, brain, why couldn't you remember that this happens? Like, why? What happened there? Like, you was able to remember other bits when you reread it, right? And but then it was like with that thing, you was like, wait, I forgot about that. So, but it was still nice, because it kind of made me feel like I was just new to this world, you know? Like, so I'm not complaining. Like, all right, thank you, epilepsy. Like, I thoroughly did enjoy it again, and I'm looking forward to continuing this series and finally getting to the Infernal Devices series. Like, I hear so many people talking about that, and I'm just like, I have to finish this. I have to, you know? And I'm like, I'm so glad that I'm rereading it, just because rereading this, it showed me like how much I forgot and how important it is for me to annotate. Like, I'm like, if I would have been annotating like I, you know, like more thoroughly like I am now, I would have just been able to like skim through all my little notes and comments and reactions that I had, and I would have just been able to dive into all the other ones. But it's all right. I don't mind doing a reread, and it's with a friend, so it's cool. So the third book that I finished in February is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. I gave this one, I believe it was like a 4-star. It was a 4-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. Let me see. Okay, all the annotating that I did. Let me tell you a little bit of what this world entails. So basically, it's two characters, Kate Harker and August Flynn. Kate Harker, she wants to be like her ruthless father. He controls like one part of like the city, while August Flynn, his father, controls the other part. That's why you can see like the whole Romeo and Juliet vibes right there. And she wants to be like him, but yet she's been sent away. She does things on purpose because she's trying to go back home. She wants to go back home with her father, where she should be, right? Like, so you can't even blame her. So now August Flynn, he's a monster. He's one of like the powerful monsters, and he's the type, he's a Sunai. So he steals your soul through music, which is pretty cool if you ask me. And but he just wants to be human, he is not accepting of who he is. He doesn't want to be that, that's something that he battles with a lot in the story. Eventually, like, meets Kate. They come together to see like if they could fix this division, and but the problem is that, like, how can they do it when they don't even know like who's who, like who's a villain, who's not. I really enjoyed this world. Like, I really loved the whole concept of it. Was kind of like, it gave me Romeo and Juliet vibes, but with a side of monsters, like monsters thrown into it. This world was told in dual perspectives. So it's like, even though the chapters are not like really split up that way, you can still tell which perspective it's on, which is what I love, because I hate when like it's all over the place and I'm like, okay, who's this and who said this and where this person is coming from, and like it leaves you a little confused. Once I experienced her writing, I was like, oh yes, this is an author that I can love and vibe to, because that writing style, ooh, chef's kiss, and the whole whipped cream and a cherry on top, because I absolutely loved her writing style. There was like a little bit of slow moments, a little bit, but it was pretty good. Like, the pacing of the story was good, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed both of the characters. I loved reading their perspectives and their stories, and how like everything came to play like at the end. They kind of discovered a lot of things about themselves, and the people in their lives and the people they thought they knew, and like things that they thought happened, or like, and it turned out to be something totally different. It was pretty nice seeing them discover themselves and kind of like come to terms with things. It's not like a solid 5-star read for me, because it's just like the action was okay action. Like, so it wasn't like anything that I'm like, oh my god, ooh, ah, ooh, ooh. Quite honestly, I felt like the ending was a little bit rushed to me. Like, that really irks me, because it's like, I feel like when you get to find out who the villain is or who did what, I want a little bit more than just like a chapter, or like, like a teeny weeny bit of what happened, and it's like, ooh, boom, bang, bop. All right, goodbye, villain. And that could just be a me thing. That could just be a me thing, because I love villains. So, but it's like, when you finally get to that point in the book, like, I want to spend a little bit more time with the villain. Like, like, don't just give me a little bit of like why he did this or why this happened, and then take it away from me like this. So yes, actually that is why I gave it a 4 star and it just couldn't make it to the 5 star, but it's still good and I still recommend it and I still plan on reading the next book. Next book I read in February is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. And guys, okay, so before I get into that, let's go back. This is another series that if you don't know about it, like, where have you been? Like, and listen, I'm right there with you because I only know to a certain extent. Like, I'm very familiar with the Throne of Glass series. At first I thought I was saying it wrong. Throne of Glass series by, Sarah J. Maas, but I never finished it. Like, Throne of Glass is another one that I read back in 2016. And it actually, if I'm not mistaken, it actually was the first book that I started reading. And that's when I actually stumbled into the Bookstagram community. And that was how I started reading that series. So if you really think about it, I should have been finished this series, but again, life happened and I couldn't read, so it kind of just stood there. So I read the first book back then, and I am buddy reading this with one of my friends in the Bookstagram community. The goal is to finish the whole series this year. I read Throne of Glass. I did a reread of Throne of Glass last month. I still enjoyed it. Now from Crown of Midnight, moving on, I'm new to it. So I never read Crown of Midnight. This was the first time reading it. And ooh. Quite honestly, it's pretty much a 5 star read for me because I absolutely loved it. Sarah J. Maas writing style, she sprinkles. This series is very plot driven and there's like so many things here. Like, as you can see, I have it all annotated up. There's like so many things here that you can see, like it's like foreshadowing, like let me tab and annotate this because I feel like this just might pop up because this is something I'm questioning. So with this series going in, I would definitely say if you are not annotating, you better get on board or at least write those little questions down in like a reading journal or something because it has a lot. And there's a lot of questions that are left unanswered. I enjoyed it actually a little more than Throne of Glass, even though I still love that one too. But this one right here, it just had me questioning and just like predicting stuff and loving certain people that some people don't really care for, even though I'm not far into the series to know why. Well, before I get into that part of the book, I really love Selena. Like, she's so badass and she is a fierce character. I absolutely love her. I can understand why people love her so much. Like, she is like fierce, okay? She slays all day, every day, and literally, actually, there's just certain things that happen in here that it had me so sad. And I felt all the emotions, okay? I felt the emotions. I felt the okay, you cool emotions. And when I say okay, you cool, it's referencing to Dorian. Because I found him pretty annoying. Like, he was annoying. You know what? I think I have a problem with characters because they just annoy me. Like, and if you feel the same way, please comment below and let me know because Or like, you know what, let me know about characters that annoy you, so I'm not here by myself annoyed by all these characters. He basically annoyed me, and then like in this book it was just like, okay, you cool, I'm starting to like you. Okay, so KO, I know that people don't really like him, but I do. Okay, and leave me be. And maybe I'm just liking him for now, right? Because I don't know what happens in the rest of the series. I'm trying not to really say much because I don't want to spoil anything, especially because this is the second book in the series. Certain relationships I was just pretty sad about. Like, I was just like, why things happen, right? And yeah, it just makes me sad. You know, Sarah J. Maas just has this reputation that she just like sprinkles here and there, right? And then like once you get to a certain point in the book, she's like, wham bam, I'm giving it boom all to you. Like, and the ending, she know what she's doing, because the ending of this had me shook. I was like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of stuff that I could kind of like, you put two and two together and you kind of figure out a little bit, and there was like certain pieces and certain things that I was like, what? Like, I figured this, but then what? Yeah, it leaves you like that. So this I would definitely recommend, and I am continuing this series, and maybe I will do like a more thorough talk about this series, like as I keep going. I think I'm gonna do that with you guys because I know a lot of people read this already, so it would be fun to do like a video where I could talk more in depth about things. So if you would love to see that, like, comment below, because I am all about spilling that tea. It's hard for me not to spill a little something. Like, a part of me is like, and then I have to just like, Jeannie, just, you know what, drink your coffee and shut up. I'm like, listen, okay, I think I want to do that video. If you are for it and you want to rant and rave with me, let me know, because I will make that video, because I just want to I just want to fill it all out, okay? If I'm not mistaken, I gave it a 4.5 or a 5-star. I believe it was 5 stars though. I should really need to write these things down, especially considering that I don't be remembering a lot of things because, you know, my condition. Definitely recommend if you haven't read. The next book that I read in February was Anxious People. Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. You know, I'm still debating because I literally just finished it before the month was over. So it was like, yeah, I got one more book on my wrap up. I actually just finished it like yesterday. I'm still debating on like where my rating is, because I really enjoyed it. Like, and I'm leaning more towards like a 5-star read, quite honestly. It was my first time reading, you know, Frederick Bachman, because I've heard so many people recommend this book. It's basically a hostage situation where like there's like a group of people and they're taken hostage by like this bank robber, and like the story unfolds from there. Again, I'm not great with synopsises, so there just might be a chance I'm not even gonna do no synopsis, but I know it's important to kind of have like something, so there you go. That's my little synopsis about this one. Then you have, you know, like a father and son cop type thing going on, this whole hostage situation, but it's not in that way. Like, you know, like, yeah, they're trying to figure out, you know, about this bank robber, like what happened and stuff like that. But It's like so deep. And I must say that there are triggers in this book. Suicide is one that's like very prevalent in this book. Death, grief, mental illness. The writing style to me was good. There was like funny moments in there, but then there was like, oh my god, especially in the beginning of the book. That's why I can understand like why there was some people that I've seen like they couldn't finish it or they didn't enjoy it, cuz I will warn you that these characters, like there's multiple perspectives in this book, but you can keep up with it, but there's like so much back and forth. There's like so much characters, so much going on, and it's like you kind of have to just make sure you keep up with it. The perspectives, they're kind of all over the place, and the title, it's perfect. Okay, it's perfect for this book. It definitely will trigger a little bit of anxiety in you too. I'm not a person that deals with anxiety, like major anxiety that I know some people suffer from. So it was like I was able to deal with like the little anxious moments that I felt. These people, they're going to have you questioning like, what is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you people? Like, this is how you feel. Some of them, their personalities too was just like, you're just like, what? Overall, I really enjoyed these characters. It's just so realistic, like with people you deal with regularly, right? Or lives that you hear stories and things that people are dealing with and struggles and mental health things. I think I still will consider this a 5-star read. I can see why so many people enjoyed this book because I am definitely on that boat with them. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, it had me feeling all these emotions. I didn't feel like, not like if I was gonna cry or anything like that, but I did feel sad for some characters. And it's just so well done. The way everything just like ties together. Like, it's so crazy, like how the characters are connected in a way. I am warning you, you are gonna have moments where some of the characters are gonna drive you insane. The younger detective, I definitely felt like him at times, like when he was interrogating and questioning them. It was like, just answer the question, like. Yes, you will have those moments with these characters. It was just a good read, so pick it up. If you've been thinking about it, I would definitely recommend you pick it up. So my last read that I got to finish in February was a little novella called Grumpy Jake. It's by Melissa Blue. To give you like a little summary of this book, it's about a kindergarten teacher, Bailey Thorne, and a father, of a kid in her class, and his name is Jake Pulaski, I think, something like that. The kindergarten teacher has this her enemy, because Jake is her enemy. So yes, it has the enemies to lovers trope, and he has like this bad reputation. Like, he's the type of dad that he is going for all them teachers in his son's school, staff and teachers. Let's just put it that way. He ain't discriminating. He ain't stopping at just teachers. Nah, he is going for staff too. So it's like he has this bad reputation of, like basically having relationships with them, and then like once there hits like a certain mark or a certain time period, then he's like, all right, deuces, I'm out, peace. Okay, being overly dramatic, right? And Bailey knows this, and she doesn't like him because of that, like all this whole reputation he got going on. They get stuck in an elevator, And you know, that kind of sparks up a little something. And from then on, it's all about like their relationship because of his reputation and him being the way he is and being known for like deucing on on the teachers and staff, or any woman for that matter. It's like, you know, she kind of feels like, oh, is he doing gonna do this to me? And she's kind of like reluctant to even like kind of like be with him and stuff. But then it happens, and then from there it kind of unfolds, and you get to know a little bit more about Jake. For this one, I gave it 3 stars, because though it was pretty good, I liked the whole kindergarten teacher thing, because you know, I'm a teacher, I'm a pre-K teacher, and I was like, oh, it's cute, like the little sprinkles of like kindergarten stuff in there, and the way like Miss I was gonna say her last, they call her by her last name, Miss Thorne. The way like she would handle things, especially like with Jake's son, it was like it is just so teacher like. So Melissa Blue really put that teacher, you know, like her character as a teacher really was portrayed in this story, which I enjoyed being a teacher myself. Well, let me keep on talking about the characters, right? So I really like Bailey's character because she's like this headstrong woman, and I like her sass and her personality, and like her like no nonsense type attitude. For Jake, right? So with him, it's all about getting to know his backstory. I don't see why the book was called Grumpy Jake. He wasn't grumpy to me. Like, he really wasn't. That just didn't match. Okay? For lack of better words. It just didn't go. Like, it didn't go with the title. His personality was actually okay. Like, he was just a typical guy. The title is Grumpy Jake. And that's like one of the main things that Bailey brings up. And that's kind of brought up in the book. And even in the synopsis, it's like, okay, I'm expecting a grumpy character. I'm expecting for this to be portrayed. Like, and it really wasn't. Like, I didn't really see how he was grumpy. That kind of bothered me because I'm like expecting this like grumpy man, and to see this portrayed. And even though it was a novella, but it's just, it wasn't portrayed. As far as like this whole how Bailey hated him and blah blah blah, it's just like the whole enemies to lovers thing. I really didn't see that neither, so that was like a bummer. It fell short on the whole enemies to lovers thing. And again, I can understand this is a novella, so it has to kind of like be fast paced, but still, I didn't think the author really executed that, because it was just like, it wasn't really there. Like, to be quite honest, it wasn't really there. That's the reason for my rating. But overall, I did enjoy it. It was a pretty enjoyable, quick read. I listened to it on audio book. The narrator, you know, I liked the whole sass in her voice and stuff like that. It was a pretty enjoyable, quick read, but I just felt like it just fell short. And I love the enemies to lovers trope, so I needed to be executed well. But overall, it was like I said, it was a pretty good, quick read. Okay, guys, so that was the end of this February wrap-up video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please, please, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that post notification bell, because turn on the notification bell, and comment below like if you read any of these books that I mentioned, if you enjoyed them, if you're looking to read them. Also, let me know how many books you read in February, and like which books you read, because I am here for chatting it up and listening to what you read, because I am interested. Because you know, if you got some good book recommendations, your girl is here for it. I am here to put more books on these bookshelves. Even though quite honestly I don't need them, because as you can see with here, you see how all of this up here is nice and there's nothing, no books on top. It has like, but then you get here and you see these like stack of books. That's because because I'm running out of room, okay, guys? And I'm sure you can relate. Thanks again for watching. And I'm going to have a part 2 to this because I'm also going to be posting my March TBR. So stay tuned for that. And that's it, guys. So until next time, bye.